All right, Brooke, thank you for being here with me. So my first question to you is an easy one. Where did you find food freedom, and what made you say like I want to reach out and I want to work with them?
I originally found Find Food Freedom on TikTok. I think so this is like a month before my wedding. So I think I was actually on TikTok, like looking for diet advice, like how to lose weight fast, whatever, I mean, you just get sucked down those rabbit holes when you don't know better and when you're like literally desperate. So I think I was looking for that. And then I saw, um, you and like a couple other intuitive eating dietitians like pop up, and I was like, what is intuitive eating? I had heard of it before, but I don't know, it was still, I didn't really know anything about it, and the way that I had seen it was still in like a restrictive way. Like I think people definitely like had warped that phrase to fit like whatever they were doing. um so yeah, and then I like the more I followed y'all, like all the different intuitive eating dietitians, like you really stood out to me as just like super genuine with your content, and I just love the message that you had to share. And I was like, you know what? I just was at this point in my life where I was so sick of being controlled by my relationship with food and with dieting, and like the way that I felt about my body and like the negative relationship I had with food and my body, that I was like, you know what the heck, like this, can't get any worse. So let's give it a shot. And I'm so thankful that I did.
I am as well. And so we just hit our, I guess you call it our 1 year anniversary together. So could you please describe what was your relationship with food like a year ago? And what is your relationship with food like today?
Yeah, so I mean, the best analogy for it is toxic. It was so toxic. I just use this analogy with you, but I'm thankful I've never been in a toxic relationship personally, but I have had friends who have, and you just can't believe the stuff that they put themselves through in that relationship, and you just try so hard to like shake them and wake them up and like have them realize that they need to get out. And that's really, all I can relate it to is it was just such a toxic relationship. Like I was literally being controlled by my relationship with food and by dieting and by shrinking my body and hating the way that I felt in my body. And it was so toxic. And then once I finally started working with you, and, gaining this knowledge and these resources, that kind of unbrainwash you from diet culture, I was like, wow, like, you can't see it when you're on the inside, but once you're out of that relationship, you're like, holy crap, why did I ever do that to myself? Um, yeah, and I feel like it was so bad. It was terrible. And I really feel like I would be so miserable if I never made the switch and like took the chance, and I guess put my faith in you, to kind of like snap me out of that. And now my relationship with food is completely different. I don't know. I really just see food as fuel, which is something I never thought I would be able to say. Like I remember in college, I heard someone say, "Oh yeah, I don't live to eat. I just eat to live." And I was like, can't relate. Literally cannot relate. But now it's like, I don't know, I just feel like I've gained so much more time back in my day and so much more life back by not being consumed by food. And it just feels like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders.
It's been so cool to see and be a part of your journey. And um, I would say peaceful and content are definitely words that come up for me as well for you, because you,
Yeah.
like you shared with me today off air, is that you just have such a zest for life now, and food doesn't consume your every thought, which is so cool. So I guess that same question, How has your relationship with your body changed? So think about your relationship with your body a year ago to your relationship with your body here today.
Yeah. I was pretty terrified when I started working with you because I was a month out from my wedding and it was post COVID. So I obviously had found you on TikTok trying to figure out how to lose weight fast. So I was obviously not happy in my body. I had put some weight on before the wedding. I hadn't tried my dress on, didn't know if my dress was going to fit. And I was just absolutely terrified to like walk down the aisle in the body that I was in because I just hated the way I looked so much. I hated my body and just I always tried to dress super frumpy and like wear super baggy clothes, thinking that like, oh, I can kind of like hide my body. But I always felt so self-conscious. I was like pulling at my shirt all the time or like trying to like, I don't know, make sure that no clothes were touching me. Never would have like even in the middle of summer, like never would have worn a tank top, show my arms, never would have worn shorts, show my legs, like nothing. Um, and I like always had an excuse for it. Like, oh, I had surgery on my legs. I don't want to show my scars. Like, no, I was literally miserable, sweating in 100-degree heat. So my body image was like as bad as it could get. It was terrible. And I really just learned to switch my mindset. Like I don't see my body for like the way it looks. I see it for what it can do. So like I'm just so thankful, you know, wow, I can go outside and go on a walk anytime I want. I'm so thankful that I have a body that can do that because some people aren't that fortunate. Or, you know, if I'm working out at the gym and maybe one week I'm lifting 10-pound weights and the next week I can lift 12-pound weights. Like, wow, look, I can do something that I couldn't even do last week. So just seeing my body for what it can do and really just celebrating my body, you know, moving and exercising to feel good because I know it makes me feel good and not doing it for punishment because of something that I ate or whatever it was as a way of like restriction or punishment. Um, and then, you know, I know we talked about this, but I like completely redid my wardrobe. I used to buy clothes knowing they were too small, trying to force myself to shrink my body to be able to fit into them. And, you know, going through my wardrobe and buying clothes that fit me and buying clothes that I feel comfortable in, I feel like has been such a huge factor in improving the way that I see my body as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It's been so just such an honor to walk alongside you in this. And so my last question for you is if a friend came to you and said, "Brooke, should I work with Find Food Freedom and why?" What would you say to them?
I would say first of all, 100% definitely you should work with Find Food Freedom. And as far as why, I mean, I would just use myself as a testimony, like to see my intake form and see the answers that I put and to remember like how desperate I felt and how miserable I was with my relationship with food and with, you know, diet culture and my body image. And like I said before, just like truly being in this toxic relationship, to seeing how much I've transformed in just a year is like something I truly never thought was possible. Like I just thought that I would always just, you know, have a terrible relationship with food. I would always just have a terrible relationship with my body. And that's just what I was going to have to do for the rest of my life. And I'm only 27. So that was like such a sad thing to think about was I had my whole life ahead of me and I was just going to spend the rest of my life, you know, hating my body or in a constant cycle of like binging and restricting. And yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine if I wouldn't have taken that first step. And it's truly been such an amazing journey, an amazing process. And I just can't imagine where I would be if I wouldn't have just decided to fill out that form. I think it was like at like 10:45 at night or something. It was like something crazy like that. Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine spending the rest of my life the way I was a year ago. And I'm so thankful that I had the knowledge and the resources and you, and that I don't have to live my life like that anymore.